Hello guys and welcome back. Now today's video is actually a suggestion by a viewer named Mateo Labra, and I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, Mateo, but I do thank you for suggesting this video. This is something that I've actually wanted to do for a while, and you know guys, when it comes to making these videos, I get ideas constantly, and sometimes I totally forget about them, and sometimes they stick, so when you make a comment, I do see them, and I definitely write them down, because I know that if you want to see it, then you're probably one of many who want to see it. So I do appreciate it when you guys leave those comments. I read and try to respond to every single one, so thank you so much for that. Now what Mateo wanted to see is a follow-up to my Thursday boots review I did about a year ago. If you remember, it was on these right here, the Duke Chelsea, and that video was actually one of the first ones that I did where I tried to make like a little bit of a cinematic intro, and I enjoy that, so it's kind of neat to see that that was the first one and how much better I think I've become. I don't know. Now, in my original review, I had worn these for a few weeks, which I felt like was a good enough time period to give me a sense of how they would wear in, how they felt. I thought that really any problems would probably come to the surface, and I really didn't have any long-term testing. But these have really become kind of a go-to for me. You know, Chelsea boots are great in that they can be dressed up and they can be dressed down. They look good with basically anything except for maybe shorts. And, you know, a lot of guys, especially in Italy, black Chelsea boots are like what they go to. That's their default footwear, you know? So these right here have become a total go-to for me. And they've been wonderful. I've worn them in the rain. There was a time where I had to walk a few blocks and it was like downpouring and they got soaked. My feet got wet, but they really actually didn't suffer any damage. They didn't warp or get out of shape or anything like that. They just kind of took it, smiled, and kept on going. Now, there are some signs of wear on these, especially on the back of the heel. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but there's definitely some discoloration where I've actually kind of gotten through to the inner portion of the leather. This is stuff that you gotta expect, though, and I don't treat my shoes very gently. I really just, like, I give them hell. When I put them on, I go out and I use them. So, you know, these have not been babied at all. There are also a few spots on here where the stitching has come loose and is fraying. A lot of times what I'll do though is I'll take a lighter and sort of burn that down so it doesn't continue. That's really almost any shoe though. The creasing is something that everybody always looks at because cheap leather will crease in a way. And the creasing on this looks pretty good. It's what you would expect from a mid-range leather. These are no shell Cordovan boots. But they're also not any kind of bonded leather where you can see that the layers are separating. They are definitely worn in. I really use these all the time. These are one of those shoes that I know I can grab and they'll look pretty good with almost anything. And so they get a lot of time on my foot. So 1 year, I mean really a year, when you buy a pair of shoes, if you take care of them, they should last you a long time. Of course, that depends on frequency of wear. So if you bought a really nice pair of dress shoes and you're wearing them 3 times a year, well, they better last you an entire lifetime. However, if you're wearing shoes that, you know, you rock them 3-4 times a week, you know, that's a lot to ask of a pair of shoes. Now, one of the great things about these is that they're Goodyear welted, so they will take a resoling. If you wanted to do that, you could. But for 200 bucks, if these wore out, I don't think I would get them resoled. I would just buy another pair. A few of the things that have happened over the last year, which I don't like, are the insoles. They've really flattened out and are basically non-existent now. I think I remember during my video wondering if these were going to hold up the same way a good leather insole would, and I kind of questioned it, but I didn't know at that time. And they've done what I've predicted, which is they've just kind of gone limp. There's nothing really there, so it's a very hard step. When I land on my heel, it's basically landing on the rubber that's between me and the road. Now, I've also started to notice a slight clicking sound, which is a really weird thing to happen, especially when it's on one side. What is happening is my heel, when it comes off the footbed just a little bit and I land on the street, my heel will strike the sole and it'll be a little, you know, kind of slapping sound, a little click there. That's not really a welcome sound, and I don't think it's going to get better. That wasn't existent in the beginning, but now that they've worn in a bit, it's starting to kind of annoy me. So that's one thing. The other thing that I've noticed that I don't really like about these is that two-tone leather. If you notice, around the inside of the... Hang on a minute. Around the inside of the elastic, you have this leather here, which is black, and the rest of the shoe is brown. And I just don't like the way two-tone leather looks. It can look good in some briefcases and stuff, but when it comes to jackets and it comes to footwear, I don't like the way two-tone leather looks unless it's really something that pops, you know, black and white, saddle shoe, something like that. The elastic has held up very well. While I'm looking at this, I just realized this. The elastic a lot of times on cheaper footwear will really just wear out. It'll lose all of its elasticity. This has held up very nicely, but that two-tone leather, I just really don't like it that much. So would I buy the Thursday boots Duke again? I'm not really sure, because there are a lot of companies that have come to my attention who may have been out there for a while who are offering great shoes and boots now for the same price, the $200 price point or thereabouts. It's a competitive area now. So you have companies like Meermin who are offering awesome stuff. You have companies like Taft who are really a direct competitor to Thursday, and I would like to try some of their stuff. I really feel like their Chelseas are actually a better design, and you can get different sole options. They have some really interesting colors, and actually I've started to see Thursday kind of copy their designs a little bit, so there's a little bit of friendly rivalry there. I'm not sure how friendly it is, but who knows. So if I had $200 burning a hole in my pocket and I needed to buy a pair of Chelsea boots, I know that these are good. I think that the insoles are lacking. I really wish they had a nice leather insole that would have formed to my foot, a nice plug leather insole. But they haven't let me down. They look good. They still have plenty of life left in them. So I don't think it's a bad choice. However, I do think that shopping around a little bit might be worth it to you. So if you have $200 or thereabouts and you want to buy a new pair of shoes, check out your options. There are a lot of them out there. So Mateo, thank you so much for the video suggestion. If anybody else has any ideas for future videos you would like to see, please let me know in the comments below. It's hard to get through these videos and all of the ideas that I have and that you have with a bi-weekly upload schedule, but I'm doing my best. So please don't be discouraged if you don't see the video that you suggested in the next month or so. It may just be that I have several planned out and I have to get to it a little bit later. So don't get discouraged and go ahead and leave those comments and let me know what you think. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will see you next time.